Okay, can y'all see the screen okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so tonight we're going to focus a little bit on the fashion design process, but it's going to be a little bit more geared towards our fashion storyboards, since that's basically a part of the design process. Okay, so we're going to go over what a fashion storyboard is, the purpose of the fashion storyboard, the components. I've got a few examples that I've taken pictures of over the years. We'll kind of start on how to get started with the project. And then we'll talk about the 3 different contest opportunities and the deadlines with it. We'll see if y'all have any questions. And then we're going to give y'all kind of an example category and have y'all create a little mini storyboard tonight. Okay? Okay. So a fashion storyboard is sort of similar to what the fashion industry uses as a mood board. So there's a couple of examples on the right-hand side of the screen. And basically, it's a way to figure out what inspiration you have and then display original designs using the inspiration. So our storyboards ideally are very visually stimulating. They are very cohesive and interesting and appealing to the viewers, and sort of tell the story of how you reached that design. Okay, so the storyboard itself is going to include your original illustration or drawing of the item, some flats, which are kind of like the pattern of the item, and then some of the additional materials. So if you had a photo that inspired you, if there was a cool fabric that you found, things like that. Okay, and then typically with our storyboards, you're going to be given a theme to incorporate into your design. Okay. So what we want y'all to accomplish through completing a fashion storyboard is we want y'all to learn how to create an original design. And some of those will be based on your knowledge of some of the elements and principles of design. So that could include patterns of clothing. It could include different concepts of home decor. It could include some of the different color pairings and things like that. And then this is an opportunity to display your designs and then share them as you would if you were a fashion designer trying to tell someone about your design or sell your design to someone. Okay. Some of this will also incorporate your visual communication skills. So how good are you at communicating what your design process was? And then sort of incorporating some of your career responsibilities if you were to be a designer or fashion illustrator. So there are a few different components that you'll need to keep in mind whenever you're putting your fashion storyboard together, okay? There are a couple of labels that you will need to have, but you don't have to incorporate all of these labels, okay? So the main one that you will need is your design brief or title. So the theme for that year will usually be your main title. That one has to be included. You can add a subtitle if you want to make it a little bit more personalized. You'll need some examples of whatever inspired you, so your inspiration. Those can be photos, they can be pictures from a video, they can be different color patterns or fabric swatches that you found. You'll need to choose a category that you're designing your item in. You'll actually include your original design illustration, and that should be the main focus of your board. So the original design illustration is going to be what your completed design would look like. So what you want it to look like whenever it's actually worn or used in the home, okay? You'll include the flat illustrations. You'll include fabric and trim swatches, and then your entry form will usually be glued onto the back of the poster board, okay? So normally our poster boards would be a 20-inch by 30-inch foam core board or mat board. You want it to be one of the stronger boards, not just a regular poster board. That way it's not flopping around. It can stand up on itself, okay? This year will be a little bit different. So these ones are going to be submitted as a digital or virtual image or PDF form this year, okay? So this year they're recommending that whatever platform you use to design your project, whether it's Canva, if it's Adobe, Microsoft Word, Publisher, whatever you use, they recommend that y'all design it in an 18-inch by 24-inch form. Okay. So for this year, the main title that y'all will need to include is Reinventing Fashion with History. Okay. And basically, they're wanting y'all to take some of the historical fashion into consideration whenever you're designing your item, okay? So for instance, it goes into detail on see how history shaped fashion through the decades, from the roaring 20s to the groovy 70s, from the classic 30s to the vibrant 80s, and the fashion mashup during the 2010s. And basically, it's focusing on the fact that each decade throughout history has its own particular style associated with it, okay? So in the 1920s, you see a lot of like the flapper gowns and things like that. In the 70s, you might have had more of the bell bottoms and bright colors and things like that. Okay, the 80s, we kind of think as our big hair days. We had lots of denim, we had lots of kind of rocker fashion kind of developing at that time and things like that, okay? And those historical fashion events usually had something to do with musical influences, political influences, it could be cultural influences, things like that, okay? So they're wanting y'all to create an original design that is inspired by some kind of refashion of a previous one. So this theme, the Reinventing Fashion with History, you'll need to incorporate with some of your inspirational items, okay? And then if you want to include a subtitle that kind of lets them know what decade you chose or what type of item you chose, you can do that. Okay? So I usually recommend searching for your inspiration first before you choose a category. So it could be anything that inspires your design, okay? It could be magazines, it could be something you found on the internet, it could be a cool photo that you took while y'all were on vacation or were working on another project. Things you can look at are architecture, so like some of the different historical buildings. If you have like a certain color palette that you like, so if you like pinks or greens or blues, you can kind of start out with that. If you're looking at different textures or different cultures, okay, or if you find like a particular item that is similar to what you want to design, but you want to tweak it, okay? Once you find something that inspires you, you're going to choose a category. So we have 6 main categories that you can choose from. So there's a wearable, which are typically clothing, okay? It could be a complete outfit or it could be a particular item. So the examples they give are pants, shorts, skirts, blouses, sweaters, coats, and dresses. It can be an accessory. So that would be something that would accentuate an outfit, such as a belt, a purse, a bag, hats, things like that. Scarves would count. Jewelry would include any kind of jewelry, so necklaces, bracelets, rings, earrings, things like that. Pet clothing, so this is just basically any item that can be worn by a pet or another animal. There's home decor and home furnishings, okay? So home decor is something that is easy to move and make visually appealing. It's typically going to be a smaller item like a throw pillow, something that you would add to your table or a wall hanging. And then home furnishings would be like a true piece of furniture, like a couch, an ottoman, chair, desk, things like that, okay? So we're gonna talk a little bit about the original design in the flats. So the original design is gonna be the main focus of your storyboard. So you need to make sure that whenever people look at your storyboard, their eyes are gonna immediately spot your original design, okay? The design illustration needs to be an original, so you can't just copy an item that you like. You need to add your own flair to it, okay? So like if you like the way I'm gonna use a dress just because it's a little bit easier to kind of add some embellishment to it. So if you like a style of dress and you found kind of something that you like, then you would need to add something to it that makes it yours. So if I found like a little maxi dress or something like that, and it was just a basic maxi dress, then I would need to add something to it. So I could adjust the type of sleeves that it has. I could adjust the trim that it has. I could adjust kind of the skirt length if it has a ruffle on it, things like that, to make it my own design. Okay. The big thing is you want to make sure that you're not copying someone else's work and you're showing off what you did yourself. And then you can either hand draw the item or you can use a computer to help you illustrate it. Okay. And then the other thing that you'll include is a flat sketch, which is usually a black and white or a pencil sketch, but it's basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a flat drawn image so that you're either seeing the front or the back of the item. And then you're kind of using it as a blueprint for how you would add different things to the item, or if you have specific details that you want noted on there, then you would make those notes and handwrite them on there. Okay. So some examples on the left-hand side are the flat illustrations. The right-hand side are the original design illustrations, okay? So for instance, if we were in our wearable category, we were doing a jacket, then this is the flat design of the jacket. We can see we've got pockets, we've got a lapel, looks like there might be a different colored lining on the back of there, okay? But it's just the overall design of it. And then over here on the right-hand side, we would see what that jacket would look like if somebody was wearing it. And then this is kind of like the color options that they would do with it, okay? If we're in the jewelry category, then on the right-hand side is our completed original illustration. So these are our colors and our design, how we want the jewels to lay out, and things like that. Over here on the left-hand side, we've got sort of the initial design. So I've drawn out how it would look like if I was looking from the top of it. And then I've included notes. So I've made a note about the type of jewel here and the little hinge on the side of it. Whoop. Okay. Maybe I'll include kind of a note on what type of metal I would like to include there. Or a cut on the jewel that's on there, okay? That way I know I can communicate that design to somebody if I wanted them to make it, okay?
Can I please ask a question?
Absolutely.
So where do you get signed up for the Storyboard app?
So we're actually going to talk about that in the contest portion. Most of our entries are going to go through 4-H Online, okay?
Okay. Is there like a link?
Yes, we'll send it out once we get a little bit closer to, okay?
Okay, I was wondering. Okay.
Not a problem. Okay, so some other accessories. So this one we've got kind of looks like a weekender bag. So this would be the completed illustration. We've used colors to illustrate what the pattern of the fabric would look like and what it would look like once it's completed. Over here on the left-hand side, this would again be just the simple drawing of what it would look like and what I would use as a pattern to make the completed item, okay? Same thing as the chair down here for home decor and furnishings, okay? On the left-hand side, I've got a very basic black and white drawing of what it would look like. I've got my notes added to it, and then my original design would be here over on the right where I could see it from a full angle and then some of the example colors, okay? So the other component that you will include on your storyboard is fabric or trim swatches, okay? So these are different types of fabric. So just like on our fabric swatches that we had for our first session of this, we would include maybe small trimmings that we would glue onto, or small fabric samples that we've cut out from a larger sample that we could either glue or pin onto the storyboard, okay? And those fabric and trim swatches are kind of going to be an example of what we would want to see on our final product, okay? So some people could include like this kind of lacy trim that's got the pearls on it. Some examples have smaller swatches of fabric. So this one is a patterned striped fabric, okay? This one in the middle would be if I wanted like a lace and then I included a ribbon trim or rhinestones, okay? If you want to pin some ribbon on there, or if you wanted to pin a couple of small swatches, some people incorporate small samples of thread or embroidery thread on there, okay? And then some people will kind of pick a color swatch and stick it on there for, like if they wanted blues, then they would include a sample of blue fabrics. If they wanted only greens, they would include a sample of green fabrics, okay? And then for the digital version, you may kind of have to do like I did here, where you take pictures of your fabric trims and then incorporate the picture onto your digital form this year, okay? And then the final thing that you'll include on the back of it is your fashion storyboard entry form. So this is a fillable form that you can find either on the district website or the state website, and I've got a couple of links for those. So this is basically where your name, your district, and your county go. So we're Bastrop County, and we are District 10. You'll include your age from this year, okay? And then you'll fill out the information here. So your name, you'll sign that it's an original design, okay? Your parent will need to sign, and then we as your agents will need to sign. You'll talk about a little bit of how you found your idea for the design, what inspired you to make it, and then how your design is different from other items on the market. And then if you found your images online or anything, you'll need to include where you got those images from. That way they know that you're not trying to take credit for those images, okay? So some examples of a fashion storyboard, I've got several of them that we'll kind of look through. So this one was retro fashion, so it'll be similar to the theme that we have this year, okay? And then their subtitle is Time for Change, and then they included some inspirational words that they found, okay? So this is their original design that's kind of in the middle of the page. So that's their completed design with the different fabrics, the way they want it completed and how it would be worn. Okay, these are the different images that they found for their inspiration. They've included a fabric swatch here, and then they've included some of the different trims or threads that you would use on there. Okay, and then this is their flat illustration that you would use as the pattern for the dress. Okay, so very similar. So again, they've got their original design that's very obvious. They've got the flat illustration next to it. Their fabric swatches and trim swatches over on the left-hand side. They've got their title or theme up at the top. And then this one, since they're going off of the cover of the magazines, they're going off of the theme of gracing the cover. So they've got some covers that they used as inspiration. Okay. This one is from 2016, okay? And this one is an example of using the actual labels. So this is their design illustration, so what it'll look like when complete. It looks like they've got a little beanie drawn with a poofy top, and then they've added like a soccer applique there, and then some different trim right here on the band. So they've got their design flat right up here. They've got the fabric samples, so these are a couple of small beanies that they included, okay, that have some different trim styles and things like that. This was their original inspiration, okay, so they found some different like sparkly fabric. They found some soccer images, another beanie type image, okay. Okay, here's another retro fashion, but for pet clothing. And this one was a pop star disco dog. Okay, so they've got their original designs. Okay, and it looks like they've got two different options. They've got their fabric swatches right here in the middle next to each of those images, and then they've got some of the ribbon trims that you would use for it. Looks like these are their little flat designs down here. And then I think the only thing that we're missing here is where they got their inspiration from. Okay. So here's another example, and this one is, I think, a little bit better than the last one. So this is their design illustration. Okay, so it's actually on their little doggy model with the pattern of fabric. Okay, their flats are over here for what they would use as the pattern, and it's obviously got its little notes on it. Okay, they've got some thread colors that you would use. They've got the trim fabric and then the main fabric for the garment, and then they've got a couple of notes on there. Okay, and then it looks like they have a little bit on their illustration down there, and then they've also got some notes on what dog breeds and stuff like that they would use it with. Okay. These are some other examples of storyboards, and these are from the state roundup in 2019. And the theme that year was Once Upon a Storyboard. Okay. So I'll let y'all look at those for a couple of minutes and then let me know if you have questions or if you're ready to move on. Okay. So it looks like they've got lots of different things going on. We've got a boot over here. I think this one was leggings. We've got some crowns and jewelries. Okay. A few different accessories and things. Okay, we've got a little handbag over here. Okay. So here's another set of examples, and this is from that same year from 2019. Okay, I think these were more in the wearable category. So we've got an outfit over here. Looks like a poncho top and a pair of pants. We've got a ball gown, another ball gown. Okay, we've got a jacket. And then I believe this one was a dress that also had a cape with it. Okay. And theirs is a little bit different than everybody else's too. Okay, we had more jackets. And then a full outfit over here. And then something I didn't point out earlier, so your font, so the type of text and the design of the labels that you use can also incorporate some style into your design as well. Okay. Okay, and then I think this one focused a little bit more on jewelry. Okay. So we've got some necklaces. I think most of these were necklace based. And then a couple of people actually made some samples of the jewelry and incorporated that onto their boards. Okay, and there's also different ways you can see on a couple of these where they've actually included some of their own artwork too. So you can incorporate your own artwork that sort of shows your inspiration as well. So like this one I think was Ursula from The Little Mermaid. So they've got her little tentacles. the Itsy Bitsy Spider, so, or Charlotte's Web. So they've incorporated like some of the spider designs, okay? Okay. So now that we've seen a few samples, some people have a hard time kind of getting started. The really big part of getting started is kind of start out thinking about what inspires you. So if there's a particular culture or a particular theme that you like, or a specific type of fashion that you like, you can start researching from there and kind of find something that jumps out at you. And then you will try and kind of create an original design. You can also incorporate, like if there's a current trend going on, again, like I keep immediately thinking of like the 70s where they had like the big bell bottoms or things like that, or even like the disco era and things like that. You can kind of incorporate some of those elements into your design. And then once you've figured out what your actual design is and what your inspiration is, then you'll develop your theme or your mood. So what do you want your board to look like? Are there particular colors that you want to incorporate? Things like that, that'll kind of unify your board and complete your design. And then you'll work on your layout of all of those items. So kind of thinking about how you want to display those things. Is there a way that illustrates your design process? Is it clear how you kind of came to design your item and things like that, okay? So for contest opportunities, so all of our contests are going to be virtual this year. And when you are submitting your virtual storyboard, you're going to save your file as a PDF, a JPEG, a JPG, or PNG file, okay? So basically either as a PDF file or an image file. So for our county contest, we're asking y'all to submit your digital storyboards to my email address by Thursday, March 18th. So basically you're just going to email me a copy of your storyboard, and then we're going to have a couple of people judge them. We are asking everyone to participate in the county contest and email us their entries in order to go to district. Okay, so the district contest is open to everyone this year. It is going to cost $15 to enter that category. You can upload your item March 9th through 23rd. Okay, so it'll be open for I think about two and a half weeks. And that'll be through the 4-H online system. So you'll log into your profile and then go to an event and then register for that event. And then there's the state contest. It is also invitational, so it's open to everyone this year. And you would upload your image through 4-H online from April 1st through 15th, okay? So this coming month of March, we'll have our county and district contest, and then in April, you'll submit your stuff for the state contest, okay? I'm not sure what the entry fee is for the state contest yet. We should find out a little bit closer to April 1st, okay? And then our county contest is going to follow our district and state rules, which basically is just the current rules for this year, okay? Whenever you submit your item, whenever we're judging, the judges are going to get this score sheet. So they're going to look at a couple of different things. So we're going to examine the layout of your storyboard. We're going to examine your illustrations and flats, and then see how closely you followed the guidelines, okay? So whenever we're judging it, we're going to look at the visual appeal, so how everything is arranged together. If it makes sense, we're going to make sure it's not too crowded and that your design is very clear, okay? We're going to examine that it's got a very cohesive theme, so everything makes sense and relates to each other, including your label fonts, your color choices, and things like that. We want to make sure that your color palette is pretty consistent through the storyboard. So if you're looking at bold patterns and colors, then those would be consistent. If you have similar colors or if you're using contrasting colors, things like that. We're going to make sure that you've got your fabric samples, trims, or embellishments, okay, that you've thought about that. They'll also talk about balance. So we'll make sure that all of your images are kind of balanced throughout the board. It doesn't look like one side has more images than the other, okay? And that you've kind of thought about the whole design process, okay? Whenever we're looking at your illustrations and flats, we're going to look at your original design and make sure that it looks like it's an original, okay? We're going to be looking for the different things that you've incorporated and how you made that design yours, okay? And that could be some of the different pattern alterations that you made to it, if you incorporated specific colors, textures, or fabrics, okay? In your flats, so your kind of blueprint of the images, we're going to be looking for the black and white drawing. We're going to be looking to see if you've included your notes or details. So if you have specific seams or darts, if there's pockets, if there's fastening and top stitching, okay? We'll look and see if you have your title and if you've included any labels, okay? So you have to include the title or the theme this year. The other labels are optional, but I highly encourage you to incorporate those, okay? And then we want to make sure that all of those items actually fit the theme, okay? So fit the theme for this year. In following the guidelines, we want to make sure that we're looking for completeness. So you've got your illustration, your flats, your inspiration, your fabric samples and trims, things like that. And then we're also going to make sure that on your entry form, okay, sometimes we'll refer to that as the storyboard label, but you'll have your inspirational image sources on there. So you're giving other people the credit for their images, okay? Okay, what questions do y'all have about storyboards so far?
I was wondering, so when you have your storyboard, does it have to be a past decade, or can it just be like a couple of years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago?
So it can be whatever
or
decade.
Can it be in this year?
It could be this decade. So let me go back to our theme. Okay. So basically, it can be any decade from the past. So even here, they're talking about like the 2010s. So that would be like 2010 to 2019. So that would include up to a couple of years ago as well. Okay. And it could be that if you choose to incorporate themes from different decades, you can do that as well. You don't have to just pick one. Okay. So it doesn't have to be like way in the past, like the 1920s. Y'all can do the 2000s or the 2010s as well. Okay. What other questions?
And my last question was like, does it, so when you sign up, does it cost cash or do you have to go through a link?
You'll go through a link. So that'll be the 4-H online system. So we'll wind up in the email blast, we'll wind up sending out a link to the 4-H online system, and that's the 4honline.com, usually the tx.4honline.com. So you'll log into your profile like normal, and then go down to your profile. So like for Abigail, you would click on your name, and then you would click on the fashion storyboard event there, okay? So it'll be online. Y'all won't.
Email.
Yes. So we'll email the link.
Yeah.
You'll register online, and then you'll pay through the online system. You don't have to worry about cash. Okay.
Yeah. And so if you wanted to do like a farming theme, you could do that. So if you want to do more of like almost like a beach theme, you could do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different historical things. So like if you look at a lot of like the old Elvis Presley movies and things like that, I want to say they were in like the 1950s and 60s. That would include kind of that 60s fashion era. So you could include pictures from those movies or from some of those movie sets and incorporate that into your design if you wanted.
And what was the canvas numbers that you had to have it, like the length and width?
So you can use a couple of different things. Let me see which slide I had it on. Oop. So they recommend an 18-inch by 24-inch design for this year. There's a couple of designing platforms that y'all can use. If you go to canva.com, that's canva.com, it is a free image designing platform. So y'all can sign up for a free account and then incorporate your design there if you want. You can use Photoshop if somebody has Photoshop, some of the Adobe stuff. You can use Microsoft Word or Microsoft Publisher too, are pretty easy to use.
And what day do you have to get, like what day is like the timeline that you have to send it to you?
So for our county contest, we would like y'all to send it to us by March 18th, okay, via email. So you'll just email me your completed image. For District 10, y'all will complete your registration online between March 9th through 23rd, okay? So the 23rd would be the final day to upload your image for the District 10 contest, and that'll be $15 to participate. There's a late fee for 2 days afterwards, I believe, but we really want y'all to complete it by the 23rd so you're not having to pay extra money, okay?
Yeah.
And then for the state contest, you would do that April 1st through 15th. So April 15th would be the last day that you could upload it for that day.
So April is the state, and what's the other one?
The district one is March 23rd.
Yes. Okay.
And then our county one will be March 18th. Okay.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Yes.
All right. Miss Sarah, do you have any questions? All right. Abigail, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't, but thank you for answering all my questions.
Not a problem. Okay. So what I want y'all to do is y'all should have a white piece of construction paper in your kit. And we're going to kind of give y'all an example, if y'all would like to, where we're going to make a mini storyboard. Okay, so I chose pet clothing to give y'all kind of a category to work on. Okay, so these were some of my images that I found. This is actually my cat Kenny up here in the little dinosaur costume. But what I want y'all to do is maybe take about 10 minutes to design a little outfit for some kind of an animal. It could be a goat, it could be an alligator, it could be whatever animal you think someone would have as a pet. Okay, want y'all to design it and think about what fabric you would use to make it. And then once y'all are kind of done drawing it, and it's just a simple drawing, we'll do our flat drawing for now. Okay, and then I want y'all, whenever you're ready, to turn on your video and then share your video with everyone so we can see your design. Okay, I'll give you all about 10 minutes to do that. I'm going to hang out here in the background. I'll be muted just in case, okay? All right, I think it's been about 9.5 minutes. Would y'all like to share the designs that y'all made?
I'm finished.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, let me get my camera on. Okay, so I did hamster clothing because I have a little buddy of my own back there. You can probably see his water bottle, but so here we have, it's a little hard to, two different types of fabrics. We have fabric for like the outfit, which is the pink one, and then the fabric for the hat, which is the red one, and then down here we have a little model. I was trying to hurry, but so the red would go for the hat, and then the pink would go for the clothes down here. And then you have a little hamster model, decorations, and then a title, and then that's what it looks like from the back.
All right, that's a great start, Abigail. Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
I want the picture on mine done.
Are you ready to share, Miss Sarah?
Yes, I can share the picture of the animal, but I can't share the rest because I didn't do it.
Okay.
So, does anybody see that? It's a
Looks
little
like a little goat.
show goat, and because in the winter they do get cold, I made it a goat coat and hat.
Cute. It look like, does their goat coat, do they
I
have?
tried to make it pink because for some reason, the girl goats always show off when they have, like, if they get a collar, they show it off instead of not liking it like the boy goats usually do for some reason.
Uh-huh.
The boy goats seem to not like it as much as the girl goats do. The girl goats show it off, so I made it pink because the girl goat probably won't care if it's pink. Probably would like it if it's not just plain.
Cute. And then it looks like, do you have like a pair of pants and a shirt with it, or is it one whole coat?
It's one whole coat over the goat. It just would have buttons or something.
Okay,
Probably
very cool.
on bottom.
What type of
There's a
fabric?
little goat hat too.
I like the hat. That's very cute. So what type of fabric would you think you would use for it?
Cotton or wool or something, or not wool, definitely not wool, because they'd probably get it dirty. You'd have to have something very easy to clean.
Excellent.
So most likely cotton.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very cool. Well, thank you both for sharing. Looks like y'all are off to a great start.
This was for a baby. If it was for a baby goat, you have to be super careful because baby goats always seem to be muddier and dirtier.
That's true. I think it might be because they're a little bit lower to the ground and they probably lay down a little bit more.
And they play a lot more.
That's true. All right. So that's all. You're fine. All right. So that's all I have for y'all tonight. There's a few other resources that y'all can look at. So this is the link for the state fashion and interior design page. They have some links to some different videos and some fabric kind of ideas for the storyboard. There's a storyboard overview in a Google Doc if y'all would like to see it from a different perspective. And then there's 2 or 3 YouTube videos that do a really good job of kind of explaining some of the storyboard stuff too. So any of those might help y'all. And then is there anything else that y'all need from me to help y'all get started with storyboards, or do y'all have any other last minute questions?
I don't have any more questions, but thank you for asking.
All right. Well, in that case, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up, and then y'all have a lovely evening, and let me know if y'all have any questions about anything, okay?
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, y'all. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.